Am I the asshole for not letting my mother grieve her daughter? I am an rainbow flag woman and throughout my life have been described as tomboy. I feel like that is a bit of an outdated way to say it, but pretty much a woman who isn't extremely femme. My mother always wanted a femme daughter. She is pretty into sewing, clothes, dresses, would have loved me to play with dolls, and be into things considered more feminine. I have tried a few times in my life to humor this, but it's not me. For example, my mother made me a dress for grad. I think this was about both of us, to be fair. She wanted to have a feminine daughter for the night, but she also wanted me to look good for me. I look back on this with mixed feelings. It's true in my photos I looked nice, but I also felt extremely uncomfortable. Sometimes it's clear my mother has issues about who I am, but she's generally remorseful when she says or does something inconsiderate. I think she's just had a tough time getting over stuff she was brought up to believe. Recently she was going on about how my aunt has a lovely daughter and she doesn't know how my aunt got so lucky. She hates my aunt. TBH, my aunt isn't very likable. My cousin is very feminine, attractive and has young children. She was going on and I said, it sounds like you would rather have her as a daughter. My mother said, for the grandchildren, maybe. She said it in a joking kind of way, but I think she meant it. And yeah, I probably shouldn't have asked if I couldn't handle it, but my insecurities got the better of me. I can't have children. It's not about me being rainbow flag. If a future partner was willing to do it, I would, or foster, but I can't have genetic children due to my health. This doesn't keep me up at night. I'm okay with it going either way, but it didn't feel good to be compared to my cousin. My dad and I are close. I told him I was upset about my mother and how she acts sometimes. He said it's hard for her, but I have to let her grieve her daughter. I was like, I am her daughter. I'm not dead. And he was like, no, the daughter she wanted. ... And proceeded to reiterate how my mother wanted a femme daughter and I should be more considerate of the fact she's grieving the loss of that daughter, and that realistically I have to come to terms with the fact she might never fully get over this. I hung up on him and I haven't spoken to my parents for 2 weeks. I don't actually think it's realistic for me to expect my mother to change. I think he has a point. I will talk to them again, but I just need a bit of space. They want to talk to me again now. My dad said I'm being an asshole to get so hung up on this. I just need to let her grieve without making her feel bad, especially in the current world situation. It's time to get over it now. We're family. And what am I trying to achieve here? IDK, what I'm trying to achieve TBH. Am I the asshole? Should I be more considerate of her grief? Edit. I went to sleep and when I woke up this had gotten a lot bigger than I expected. Thanks for your judgments and words. I'm still looking at new comments and catching up throughout the day. In a comment I go more into why I worded my post as I did with the rainbow flag. For clarity I'll just say here I'm a cis woman and direct people to read my comment if they want to understand my wording choice further. Scissor. Not the asshole. Tell them it's hard for you and they have to let you grieve the loving and accepting parents that you wanted. Not the asshole. If your mother, according to your dad, can grieve she doesn't have the femme daughter she wanted, you can sure as heck grieve that you don't have the loving, accepting mother you deserve to have. Not the asshole. Your parents are toxic. Your father expects you to respect your mother's feelings while having no respect for yours. What if you were born male? Would they still be grieving the daughter they never had? While your mother does get to feel this way, she should have gotten over it years ago. Now she is taking out on you rather than accepting you for who you are. Not the asshole. Using the word grieve implies that, to her, your lack of femininity is in some way analogous to you being dead. I'd be fucking furious if I were in your position. It's an incredibly cruel thing for them to say. Not to mention compounding it with the comments about grandchildren. If you were feeling petty you might point out that if they were to experience actual parental grief it would entail them not speaking to you for a damn sight longer than 2 weeks. Not the asshole. Your rainbow flag, not pirate flag. I mean you're not dead. I don't mean you're not a pirate. Not the asshole. Misogyny is kept alive and well by women. The fact that you not dressing in frills and don't want biological children doesn't make you any less of a woman. She can sod off with her grief and misogyny. Not the asshole. This ain't no Build-A-Bear. You can't make your child into something they're just not, and your mother needs to accept this. Not the asshole. Bogus that your parents put your mom's opinion onto you. I can wish for twins, but I won't blame my single birth child for not being it. I guess I am ignorant since nobody else asked this question, but what does the flag mean? Given that it is a rainbow flag, I assume it means you belong to the LGBT community, but even reading the post I do not understand which specifically. I hope I have not been inappropriate, and I am sorry if this is the case. Edit. After more informations, not the asshole. Not the asshole, your mother is gross for projecting this onto you, and you're right, you're not fucking dead. She's needs to stop. Grieving, a fantasy. You shouldn't have kids if you have steadfast preconceived notions of who you want them to be. Emo. Info. Is this a recent come out? Is this a recent revelation about you not being able to have genetic children? Not the asshole. Babies don't come with an invoice of features or an extended warranty. Ya get what ya get. This is so not on you. Not the asshole. She has no reason to grieve you. You're not dead. Putting these expectations and hopes on you and then mourning when you didn't adhere to her vision of you is pretty shitty. It'd be one thing if she made the offhand comment to a friend or relative of hers once or twice as you grew up, but for it to be so prominent and repeated is another. Having children is not making a mini-me. It isn't putting together a paper doll or a Build-A-Bear, and if things turn out differently than one thought or hoped, I do not find it acceptable to tell the child. If it's more important to her and your dad to grieve this notion of a sparkly cupcake doll loving little girl not existing than to celebrate you and your life, then take all the space you need. Not the asshole. Your mom is gross. She created a whole complete person, and while she had some say in shaping your morals and character, she doesn't get to shape your personality and identity. As the parent, it was their number one job in life to make sure that you felt loved and accepted for who you were. You aren't a clone. You don't exist to fulfill any weird role in her life. Children with shitty parents should mourn the relationship that they never got to have. That's a common healing technique. Hopefully, you'll be able to get to that stage. But it's incredibly shitty for your parents to turn that around on you. Not the asshole. It is not grief, it is selfishness. She had this picture of you and how she wanted you to be. Well, guess what? That is not reality. You did not ask to be born, and it is not your job to fit into some dream your mother had about her imaginary daughter. What they don't see is how it hurts you. You are not dead. You are right there wanting to be loved for who you are, not who you aren't. In the meantime, mom mourns the loss of her fantasy dream and dad is stuck in the middle. On a separate note, give your dad a break. True, he was being an asshole telling you to let her mourn, but he loves both of you. I can't have kids. I'm grieving no kids. You don't grieve for some imaginary perfect daughter when you already have a daughter right there. Tell them you're hurt and you think perhaps it's best if you don't talk for a while. Maybe she'll miss you and realize what an idiot she is. First, not the asshole, and I'm surprised you haven't cut contact sooner. Info. How old are you now? She needs therapy, not a lifelong mourning period. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. She had your whole childhood to get over it. She's being just plain nasty at this point. Not the asshole. Absolutely not the asshole. Have your poor grieving mama chat me up. I will explain to her about real fucking grief and watching my only child die in front of me. For real dead. She is fucking ridiculous and needs to get some big girl panties. You want to be my kid? I will adult adopt you and then you can be whoever the fuck you want with me. Not the asshole. My daughter is a tomboy, hates dresses, makeup, doesn't shave, my opposite, and I love her to pieces. If your parents need to grieve, they should do it in private and not say anything. But now that it's out, just recognize they are likely narcissistic personality with control issues. Not the asshole. I believe all parents have an idea of how their child will turn out in their heads, but those rarely become a reality. She is not grieving her daughter, she is hung up on her idea of what a daughter should be, and that is just not fair to you. Try to talk to your parents though. Explain how painful it is to not feel accepted for who you are by your mother. I hope you can resolve this. Not the asshole at all. I don't even know what you are asking about being the asshole for. Perhaps you feel like the asshole for not being the feminine daughter your mother always wanted. Too bad. She should have had another kid. I was in your same situation. I am you. Just a little less gay. And I do not forgive my mother for making me wear a skirt to my high school graduation. How did she even do that? I was 17. And she ruined that day for me forever. Anywho, my mom realized she needed to have another child by the time I was 10. She had always forced me to wear dresses and I had complained since the time I could talk. Anywho, I now have a sister 12 years younger than me and she is the perfect, femme Christian that my mom always wanted. Not the asshole. Oh, hun. My heart breaks for you. I'm not much older than you and my own daughter is still young, and she's not necessarily what I would call girly, either. I thought I would be having tea parties and playing with dolls, and instead I'm playing Minecraft and learning how to skateboard. It's not hard to support your kids if you're willing to step out of your comfort zone a little bit, and I'm so sorry that you're having to deal with this. It's totally fine for your mother to be a little sad that she's not going to do the things she thought she would with her daughter, but she shouldn't have ever put that on you, and it has certainly gone on for way too long. Honestly, what the fuck? Your mother is being horrible and your father is enabling her. You're alive and you're an adult. She's known that this is who you are for a long time. If you truly love your child then you love them for who they are, not who you wanted them to be. I'm so sorry your parents are such op. You deserve better. This also seems to be pretty traumatic, so it might be a good idea to talk to a professional if you feel you need it. Not the asshole. You've always been the way you are, so she is just upset over something that was never a reality. I could understand if you transitioned to a male, then perhaps your mother would feel loss of her daughter, but other than that the grieving doesn't make sense. Not the asshole. I'm a trans woman. I was told by my counselor that I had to let my parents grieve for their son. It doesn't make sense and it's extremely hurtful. I assume you feel similar to me in that sense. Anyone who has a child has to be ready for their kid to not conform to gender roles, be gay, trans, NB, autistic, etc. If she wasn't ready for that, she shouldn't have had a child. Children aren't playthings to be controlled and conform to your will. They're people. Very not the asshole. I'm sorry to see another daughter tested the way I was. I'll never forget the day my dad gave me a miter saw to help me with renovating my house and my mom asked him why he was turning her only girl into a boy. I'd like to say that perhaps in time she'll be more accepting of you, but my mom became more sexist and racist before she died. Don't be afraid to be who you are. Hugs. Not the asshole. I expected this to be about you coming out as NB, which yes, that can take some time to adjust. But she's upset you don't look a certain way? That is completely unacceptable. Don't change who you are for someone else. Not the asshole. Your mom is being emotionally manipulative at best. Not the asshole at all. Yes, they can feel how they want. You don't have to be around them if what they are saying and doing is harming you. You are also allowed to feel how you feel and grieve the mother and father you should have had. You should have had a mother who loved you as you are and didn't need you to be anyone else for her, and a father who was supportive and understanding. You're entitled to decide how much contact you want with parents who openly tell you who you are is something worth grieving over. Not the asshole. Parents have to understand that they can't make their children into the people they want or the people they wish they could be. When a parent succeeds, their child grows up to be independent and strong, as you have, not someone who bends to the will of others and hides who she really is. Not the asshole. I'm sorry, but even if it was acceptable to mourn the daughter she always wanted, how long is it acceptable to do so? You're a grown woman. It's been decades. Talking to you as though your personality is a punishment that your nasty aunt deserves isn't sadness, it's bitterness. You deserve better. And he was like, no, the daughter she wanted. Not the asshole. That is brutal and you owe these people nothing. They are literally saying you're a disappointment to them. Their conduct is shameful. Oh fuck that. Not the asshole. You're an adult woman. The time for your mother to get over you not being super femme was when you were a little kid. Your dad shouldn't back her up in grieving her mourning that you aren't sufficiently feminine. He sucks, too. If she's allowed to grieve the daughter she never had, you're allowed to grieve not having a mother who loved and accepted you entirely for who you are. Not the asshole. Talk to them when you're ready and not a second before. NTA. I am a trans dude. I hear this shit constantly. Why people grieve instead of being happy their child can be whoever the hell they want is beyond me. Not the asshole. As a parent, it's normal to envision what your child will be like as an adult, what kinds of things they'll do, getting to be a grandparent, etc. When you realize that your child's reality is different from what you envisioned, it takes an adjustment. When my daughter came out, I had to let go of my emotional attachment to the hypothetical future I had imagined, but that was 100% on me and I never would have expected her to bear any of that emotional burden. Your mother isn't the asshole because she's struggled to let go of the dream she wasn't going to get to live out, she's the asshole because she made that your problem and not hers. Not the asshole. I have 2 suggestions on how to help your mother cope with whatever is not letting her be happy in life. Number 1. Mentoring an at-risk girl who is in desperate need of love and attention. A girl that would thrive on your mother's need to spoil someone with girly stuff. Number 2. Adopt a tiny doggy that your mom could have fun with sewing adorable little outfits for and carry around in one of those doggy purses. Good luck with a solution that helps you and her find peace with one another. Not the asshole. My dad said I'm being an asshole to get so hung up on this. I just need to let her grieve without making her feel bad, especially in the current world situation. It's time to get over it now. Tell him your mom's had her entire life to get over it and she still hasn't, so you're going to need just a little more time. Nah, each of your feelings are valid. You didn't choose to be born, but your mother chose to have kids. That means you don't owe her anything, but she owes you a loving parent and good life. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. I'm in a similar boat to you. While I'm not LGBTQ+, I'm certainly a tomboy, and my mother never got over it. It's a shitty feeling to not have your mother accept you for who you are. The whole story sounds fucking stupid. Nobody's an asshole, but there's a lot of stupidity. Not the asshole. I'm also not a femme woman. As an adult, I learned to not be uncomfortable to make someone else happy. Your mom is still wanting to make you uncomfortable for her happiness. Her comments show that she still wants you to be what she wants. Your mom had many years to get over herself and work through her issues. Take a step back and focus on all the things that make you happy. Not the asshole, but I also think you're grieving the mother you'll never have, accepting of who you are and will always be. I'm sorry for your loss as well. Knowing that your mother will never accept you and cherish who you are is heartbreaking. Much love, internet stranger, and take your time figuring out how to accept it. So for how long are you expected to let her grieve? Not the asshole. What a ridiculous concept. I'm so sorry, yo, I have to deal with that. Not the asshole. That is incredibly petty, to say they're grieving someone who doesn't even exist. This is probably just my shoulder devil of drama talking, but if they keep pressuring to stop acting hurt, maybe tell them you just need time to grieve for your parents. The kind, supportive ones you wanted. But take the above with a grain of salt, as with everything internet. No assholes here. He had a valid point. As a parent you have this idea of how raising children will be, and sometimes it doesn't work out that way. Parenting advice in magazines and articles is to actually grieve the loss of the child you had hoped for in order to be a better parent to the child you do have. Your feelings are valid, but so are your mother's. You said yourself she said it jokingly. Nothing you said makes her sound particularly malicious, but she is a human being that probably dreamed of having a little girl to dress up, and it didn't work out like that. All too often we forget our parents are human beings first. They have the same hopes and desires in life and can react just like everyone else when things don't work out. Not the asshole. I don't know if you'll read this or not, but I also urge you to grieve in your own way. You didn't get the mother you need. She clearly is refusing to accept you for who you are, to support you in the way you need. And as someone who found herself in a similar situation, I just want to acknowledge that it's hard, that it's okay for you to be sad about it, and that it may be easiest moving forward to limit your interactions with your mom to surface-level conversations to keep from reopening these wounds whenever possible.